Hey, this is WhyBeAre with Automation, the car company Tycoon game. Now, a while ago, I made a car that was just very boring and bland, but it was like a kind of car that sells. If it was a real car, it'd be a top-selling car in the world. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this really boring car, and we're going to make it into a cool car. At least cool by my definition. So we're going to start with the platform. Now, we're going to do this in a realistic sense, where we try to minimize costs by reusing as many parts as we can from the base model of this car. So starting with the platform, the only thing we are going to change is we're going to add a transverse all-wheel drive system. Instead of having a front-wheel drive only, it's now all-wheel drive. And then the next page, we're not going to change anything here because, well, you know what? I guess we could. We can make it a yellow. Why not? Makes it look a little bit more sporty in a yellow color. And now for the body. We're going to do a couple of changes here. Not much, just a couple of things. The first thing I want to do is I want to put lips on the front and back to make it look a little more aggressive like that. I think it would just kind of make it look just a little bit more aggressive, and I think it would help overall. We're not going to make really huge lips or anything. Reasonably small ones, just like that. See, it looks good like that. Just a real small one. Maybe a little bit wider, but that's it. Alright, there we go. Perfect. We're going to do the same on the rear. Hopefully the lip doesn't cover up the exhaust. I didn't think about that. It might. Make it as low as we can go. And oh, it looks like it's going to cover up the exhaust just a bit, isn't it? Try to reposition it and get it to go below the exhaust. Not going to happen, is it? Try it one more time. Because sometimes I can place it lower if I'm careful enough. Like that. Oh, I missed the click. There. No, it won't let me click. It's green, but it won't let me click. How deceptive. Okay, so that overlaps. So what we're going to say is just let's say the exhaust were always up this high. Let's just say the stock version had exhaust that high. It's just a small change where you really wouldn't notice it unless they're overlapping. So that is what the sports version will look like. You know what? Let's throw a wing on it. Let's throw a big wing on it. I don't know if it'll look okay or not, but let's just try it. Throwing a big old wing on the trunk and seeing what that does. So here we go. Maybe a small wing doesn't look good. I was going to say maybe we could do a small wing, but small wing doesn't look good. We need a big wing. Let's go. What does this one look like, huh? And we kind of just got to throw the wing on it and see which one looks the best. What is the wing doing? What are you doing? That one might work. I don't know. That seems alright. Try to extend it out as much as we possibly could on the edge of the trunk. Like so. Yeah, a little too boxy maybe. Let's see. Maybe we'll do this one. I think this one is probably the ideal for this vehicle. Yeah, I think that's going to be the best wing we got. There we go. Look at that. Now it looks a little more sporty. And the wing it's big, but it's reasonable. Oh, it's kind of overlapping the headlight or taillights, so that's not good. I like when it goes downwards like that. That looks cool, but I don't want it on the taillights. That looks weird. So there we go. That is the new design. I still have the back looks terrible, but the wing actually distracts from kind of the emptiness here. It still looks empty, and I really don't know what to do about that, but whatever. I like the front still a lot. Let's see. Ooh, we could put a little scoop or something on the hood. Something small. Just something really small like that. Because we're going to have a turbo, so we'll say that is the air intake for the turbo is a necessary thing. And there we go. It is mostly the same car, but it has some small tweaks to it that make it look a little bit better, I think. Alright, so the exterior is really the easy part. All we do there is throw some lips on it, maybe a wing, and it looks sportier. That's all you have to do. It's that easy. The engine is where it gets hard, because on this engine, I want to make a really balanced engine that is realistic. So I gotta kind of look at what numbers it calculates and just get a rough estimate of what I want this engine to have. So I'm thinking at least 400 horsepower. And for reliability, let's aim for maybe 40 to 50 range. I don't know exactly what reliability means, what is a 75 reliability, but I think 40 to 50 sounds pretty good for a car with 450 horsepower. If we can do that, we'll see. I might have to change my requirements depending on if it's actually possible. And economy, I guess if we get half of the economy we have right now, that would still probably be a fairly economical car. So those are our three goals. 400 horsepower, 50 reliability, and 1.0 on the economy. That's the rough goals here. So, let's go ahead and start modifying the engine. Now, I'm making this they took the engine from the other car and just did small tweaks to it to make it this engine. That's why I built it so strong in the other cars, so that way there's not many major changes that should be needed to make it a pretty good 400 horsepower engine. We're not going to change the block material, the bore, stroke, crank, conrods, or pistons. Well, maybe pistons. We'll see if the normal forged can hold up. I don't know if they will, so we'll consider those. But for now, we're going to have all of them the same as before. Heads and valves, we're not going to touch. Compression, we will touch. We'll lower the compression quite a bit because we're going to use some turbos on this thing, and then we're going to use some big turbos, so they'll kick in hard. And if we don't have a low compression, the engine will knock. So that's the reasoning for that. We're going to increase the VVL and VVVs, all those things, and just make it a little bit more on the sport race side because, well, this is a sport race version of the car. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to make an actual balance between sport and race, which is not easy, but it's going to be like really high on the sports side, basically. So we'll go ahead and use that setup for now. And now we go to the turbo, which is probably going to be the hardest part about this thing, is getting a good turbo on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a ball bearing that's water cooled, and we're just going to use the race turbo as our baseline, and then we'll tweak it from there to get a turbo that really kind of matches up with the engine. As for fuel system, we're not going to touch that. Intake, we can go ahead and throw a performance one on it. I don't see why not. That's just a reasonable modification that could be done, no problem. Fuel type, we're going to use super unleaded, which is not anything insane. Like, ultimate unleaded is actually quite insane. Super unleaded is when you go to the gas station and they have 3 types. Super unleaded is the most expensive, at least in the US usually. To find ultimate unleaded is kind of difficult, so that's why we're using super unleaded, because it's a reasonable fuel. It's what my RX-8 uses, so I have no real reason not to as far as I'm concerned. It is a fancy car after all, it needs fancy fuel. As for the fuel mixture, we'll go ahead and up that quite a bit. We'll try to lower it if we need to, but we could dump a lot of fuel into this hopefully and still be fairly gas efficient, I think. Ignition timing, I won't touch. RPM limit, we could probably up that some. And let's see, we're going to go on to the exhaust. Probably not going to do much here. Maybe increase the diameter, and that's about it. We wanted to make, let's be optimistic and put 491 horsepower per pipe, which means just 491 total from the engine. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but maybe we can. And then for the muffler, let's go ahead and just put baffled and baffled, because whoever buys this car probably wouldn't care about how loud it is as much as whoever would buy the normal one. So let's see if that works. Or if it knocks, just let's see what happens. That was kind of unusual. You didn't hear the engine, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, I'm here still. Don't worry about me. I'm here. I'm the engine. That was just weird. Alright, so looking at all the stats here, things look pretty good. We actually got most of our goals just by doing that. Like, that really is just, that's our goals. We can come back and tweak it more later, but for now, this is pretty much good. So we'll call this the amazing basic engine, because the other one was called the very basic engine. This is the amazing very basic engine. Can we fit that whole thing? Sure we can. And it's revision 1. Perfect. Okay, let's go to the trim. Alright, so for gearbox, I think we need some real fancy. Let's go a sequential 8-speed with a double clutch. That'll just give you the ideal gear and shift no matter what. Going up the top speed, about what it says. It says 169, so 170-ish is probably fine. I don't know. We can always change it later. We're not going to touch quality sliders. We want it to be as close as possible to the normal one. See, the tires will change. We'll put some nice fat sports compound ones on it. So we're gonna go ahead and pick sports compound. Let's make it symmetrical. So how high can you go? You got 255 here, and these ones can go way higher. We want it symmetrical, so 255 front and back, because it is still a road car where you might want to rotate your tires or whatever. So we'll keep it like where you can do that. Go ahead and probably up the rim diameter a bunch. Yeah, 23 inches. Lower it too. Yeah, it's gonna look terrible. Don't do that. That looks like. Let's put the body on it. Let's see what that looks like. That doesn't look too bad. I think we'll keep 23 inches. probably not good for the actual performance, but I kind of like the idea of giant rims on my car, giant ones. Anyways, let's go to the brakes. For the pad type, we probably want to up it to about, not race, but right in the middle between race and comfort, I think would work good. Next is the under tray, which we will put for downforce. And how much cooling did the engine need? It needs 596.3. So we'll give it about maybe 620 or so, just so it has a little bit of extra. There we go. Brakes have cooling, no problem. We won't touch the aero inclination because I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing there anyways. And next we can go to the interior. Now for this one, we're going to say it's only available as a 4-seater. This is the Sport Edition. And it would be kind of cramped up in the interior because you would have a drive line that goes to the back now. And it would reduce the interior space. So no 5-seater edition. Just the way it is. Insulation will lower that as well, because again, this person probably wouldn't care as much as the other guy how loud things are. So 20 on the insulation would probably be enough. Not going to worry about the entertainment. We'll keep that the same. Go ahead and add launch control, because now it makes sense. Now you have a fast car. You're going to want the launch control in it. Safety, we won't make it worse. That's already pretty safe, so we're not going to do anything there. Now let's make the suspension into a race kind of suspension. I'm going to do this one by hand. I'm not going to use a preset here. We're going to do our best to do it by hand. So I'm going to use a bunch of camber. I think basically up to 3.0 is pretty useful. So we'll go to 3.0 on both, which is what it maxes out at. And let's try about doubling the suspension stiffness on the front. And then, or is that the back? I don't know. I can't remember which is which. Let's just put them both to the same. We'll make it symmetrical for now. And then I'll come back to it later once I get some other things settled up. But we'll make it symmetrical. Try to match this one into 1/10 of the one above it. And then this one to half. Do these numbers have any meaning? Not at all, but I know that bigger numbers mean stiffer generally, which is usually better around a track. So with all these things in mind, how fast can it go around the Top Gear test track? Because that really is my favorite baseline testing track. Alright, so we got a 125.69. I guess that's pretty good. For a 4-door vehicle, that's pretty good. How's the economy look? Do we got reasonable economy still? We got 21 miles per gallon. That is nice. Reliability is a 66.7. That seems pretty good. I think we could probably squeeze a little more out of this engine, though. Try to get in the 123s maybe on the test track. That'd be nice. So let's go ahead and let's see. Let's just it looks like this turbo's spooling up, and it has so much spool for RPM range we don't have. We only go up to 8,000. So what we could do is we could really reduce the turbine size quite a bunch, and we can get the spool up sooner, and I think that'll help the low end a bit without reducing the high end too much. Yeah, there we go. And that should help, I think, for like a lap time. Let's go and check that real quick. Yeah, there we go. See, a half second faster just by throwing a smaller turbine on it. Let's see, how small can we go? We want it to, when we get to 8,000, that's when you want it to kind of drop off, I guess. So, yeah, about there. Well, if we put the AR ratio up, then we could put an even smaller one on it. Look at that. We could put a real tiny turbine on this thing, which will save weight also. So that's one of the reasons I could do it like that, is because it'll save weight because we have a real light turbine. So we'll maybe go like a 1.79. We could probably even reduce the compressor a bit. Just a bit. Maybe about, yeah, right there. It looks like maybe one more up. Because that's, looks like it starts to fall off right at 8,000 RPMs. And then we'll max the boost out. Like the max boost, make it huge. That should make it a good engine. There we go. 491 horsepower. And pretty decent fuel octane rating. How's the torque? Torque seems reasonable. So far, nice. Let's see, does that make it faster? Around the track. Track stats, 124. We cut another second off the time. That's not bad. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. A 124 around the Top Gear test track is, that's really pretty good. We actually almost touched 500 horsepower. Well, since we have a fuel octane right here of only 82.3, we could do some tweaking to get it to touch 500 horsepower. I'm pretty sure we could. Question is just, what should we do? I think the easiest way would probably just be up the compression just a smidge. And that should get us there. Whoops, too much compression. So let's go for 500 horsepower. And then we'll do one more run at the test track, see what that says. Right, one more down on compression, and let's see, will it get 500? 496! Oh, so close. Alright, what if we increase the ignition timing by 1? Trying to squeeze enough out of it, and it didn't even change! How dare you? Well, let's see, does the extra power help at all? For the test track, does it help? I mean, it's so little, it probably won't help much. Yeah, 1/10 of a second. That's not much. Let's try to get into 123s. That'll be our goal, 123s. How's the reliability? The reliability has been going down. It gets too low. We could just probably throw some lightweight forged pistons in it, right? Yeah, but I don't want to do that. That seems a little bit like a cop-out. So for now, we're going to keep with the normal pistons it has. Just because I like the idea of the same internals. I really like that idea. That was the whole thing behind it. The exact same internals, but a far faster vehicle. So somehow I gotta squeeze a little more out of it. What if we had a bypass valve? Does that help? It does, but the engine is knocking now. Alright. Reduce the ignition timing by 1. There we go. Wait a minute. Huh. I must have accidentally hit no catalytic converter. Oh no, that's gonna ruin everything, I bet. Oh, it's okay. It's okay, actually. We still got 500 horsepower. So the goal was 400, now we got 500. Reliability is 47, the goal is 50. That's within range of what I wanted. If we wanted a little extra reliability, we could throw on the forged pistons. I had no problem reaching the 400 horsepower goal. The thing was, I just wanted to get 500 now when I saw how close it was. Let's see, did we get within the 123s on the test track? Oh, we got slower. Too much power. I guess it's just the way it delivers the power is probably not as efficient. Here's an idea. Just for kicks, let's go ahead and throw lightweight forged in it, and then we could probably up the red line a bunch and see if that works. Yeah, as expected, the pistons are still suffering, but they are probably going to be okay for this. So how's this work? Oh, 122.98. I think I like the lightweight forged. How's everything else with the car? Is it still reasonable? About 20 miles to the gallon if you round up. That's good. Over 50 average reliability. That seems reasonable. And let's see. Prestige, comfort, and all that I'm not too worried about. They're still there in a number, so that's good. They're not 0. If they were 0, I would worry about them. Sportiness is a nice 42. So yeah, I like this car. I like the way it turned out. It has some very good features going for it. Let's see. Let's see if we can tweak a little bit more speed out of it by messing with the aero inclination. I'm pretty sure if we throw some downforce on it, it should make it faster around the track, right? Let's see. Track stats. There we go. We cut some time off. Making a pretty fast car here. Try to do a little bit more, maybe up to 80 each. See what that does. Make it faster or not. Are you faster? Yes, you are. So maybe we should try increasing the total downforce. See, now I'm just changing numbers just to get it a little faster around the track. Oh, nope. Too much downforce. Too much downforce. Don't want that. Get you away. Get your downforce messing me up. What about 60? Is 60 good? I did jump 20 downforces. Like, what are those even? Is it percents, I guess? It must be percents. Alright, that was better, so we'll keep it like that. What if we had a bias towards the front or back? Is that helpful? Because the car is kind of front heavy, I think, so didn't make a change with the bias being that way. What if we do it the other way around? I mean, I know the color was red, but it's like, how can you tell? That one definitely made it slower. So we won't do anything there. We're not going to touch those no more. Obviously, it's not working. Nothing really to mess with there. I don't know how good that suspension really is. Let's see. I could try the race suspension, but I don't know. I mean, it's probably going to make it faster if we did a race suspension. Let's see. Oh, it actually looked like it kind of decreased most numbers. Oh, what is that? Where's my custom-made suspension, man? That custom-made suspension was great. You know what's funny is all I did was pick variables of 3, or numbers that could be like, are kind of 3, like 3, 6, 6, and then 3. And it seemed to work out pretty well, didn't it? So let's go ahead and do that again. I like that setup. It worked good. It was fast. It may not be comfortable exactly, but it was fast. And tires and stuff. I think those are, I mean, you probably could go faster with smaller rims. Pretty sure you would go faster with the smaller rims. Yep, look at that. Smaller rims, man. Probably 20s, I think, would probably be the ideal. Oh, nope. 22s. Sitting on 22s, you get some good lap times. Probably the spacing for this, you could probably increase the spacing just a bit, and it'll also make it a little bit faster. I think that's ever so slightly faster. And I think that'll be the car. It has some tweaking there, and I think, sure, I could do some more tweaking and make something that's a little bit more faster around the track, but then it kind of gets to the point where you're probably sacrificing other things. If I stop here, it's like I haven't really sacrificed anything else to an extreme extent. Yeah, it's not as comfortable as the stock version, but it still has all the amenities and stuff, and that's what's important. So this is the car for you, man. This is the revised edition that's much better. The Super Ultra Mega Bland car is no longer Super Ultra Mega Bland. It's now quite cool. And let's see. So we had for the Top Gear test track, we had a 120. What was it? 122? 70. I'm kind of curious. I don't know what's up with the sound. The sound's kind of weird. Like you only hear it when the car's like at almost red line. It's unusual. Watch. You don't hear it from like 0 to 6,000 RPMs. Once you get past 6,000, then you hear it. Or maybe even 7,000. Just listen though. See what I mean? I guess it's like VTEC kicking in or something. I don't know. It's interesting. Anyways, 122.7. Is that really good? I think that's pretty good, isn't it? Let me go check what the Top Gear test track lap times are and figure out where that stacks up. Okay, so I went ahead and brought the Top Gear test track times, and it's not something you can make an exactly direct comparison to because one is driven by a real person on a real track. This one is just simulated. But if we were to make a direct comparison, this car is insanely fast, especially considering it's a 4-door car based on an economy-ish platform. It is just insanely fast. So just to give you an idea of how fast it is, here's some of the cars that it is faster than. It's faster than a Ferrari F430 Spider and a normal F430. It's faster than a Lamborghini Murcielago. It's faster than the first Koenigsegg, and faster than an Ariel Atom, the first Ariel Atom. And it's faster than a Lexus LFA, but that was in the wet. If the LFA was in the dry, it would kick its butt, but since it was in the wet, it was technically faster than it. So it is really quite fast. I mean, I think it's probably the fastest 4-door there would ever be. It's hard to look through the whole list and say, oh, that's the 4-door or not, because I just have a small section of it up. But that gives you an idea of how fast this car is. It has succeeded in its mission of being fast. And one thing, it's really not that expensive. Like, compared to the stock version, let me, so I saved this, right? Alright, and then let me go out of here real quick. Alright, so let's look at the stock one, though, and see how much it costs. Because I believe the cost was almost the same. And all that is just a little bit more man hours than this one to make the difference. So let's do a quick test right here. So, okay, about $1,000 more in cost for raw materials and 20 hours more in production unit hours, or whatever you want to call them. That is the only difference there is between the two in terms of cost. And one of them is just an amazingly crazy car for barely any more price. Now, it will cost more to run. It will be less reliable, but it's still fairly reliable. I mean, a 58.7, I think that's pretty good. Sure, the economy's not that great, but that represents real life. The economy's not that great for real. It means something there. So anyways, that is the Super Bland Car Evolution. I don't know exactly what I'll call it. I need to do something about that back end to make it look better someday. Someday I'll get good at those. That day is not today. I still suck at taillights and all the back stuff. What if we try to save it real quick? Let's see. What if we say I want to put extra lights right here? Yeah, more lights. That's always a solution. Looks worse. Looks definitely worse. Looks dumb. Looks really dumb. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with it. I think it's as best as I'm gonna get it to look with me, the one designing it. Anyways, till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. Whoa, my voice just Man, that was weird. Anyways, like, YBR, I'll see ya.